Everybody, welcome back. I hope we're all doing well. Special shout out to all the folks watching along at home. Hope you guys are all doing all right. Anybody want to say anything to anybody that's feeling at home?
Hi, Chip.
Hi. Hi, Chip.
Hey, you got this close so you don't get
Who?
yelled at.
Riley.
Dragon City kid? Dragon City.
Dragon Kids working.
Got it. Okay. So for everybody watching along at home, today I'm just going to go over the warm up and go over the homework, and so I'm going to record that too. But I wanted to make special note of tonight's homework. Tonight's homework is a review of sections 4.1 to 4.3. I'm going to click on it right here. This is where you're going to turn in your assignment to, but it is 2 book pages, pages 261 here, and then the page 61. You're going to put all of the answers on this answer document. Okay, I'm going to hand this out in class. Everybody's going to get a hard copy, but if you're watching along at home, it'd be a good idea to try to print that out. If you can't print that out, if you do not have a printer at home, that is okay. You can just write your answers on some notebook paper. But this is what the answer sheet should look like. So try to print that out as much as possible. If you do not have a printer, try to make your paper look like that so that I could grade it a little bit easier. But try to put all working answers on that piece of paper so that I have something to grade for everybody. You're going to turn it into this assignment, this section 4.1 to 4.3 assignment. So you're going to turn it in there when it's done. Yeah, it's 20 summative points. This is the last thing that's going to go in the grade book, but it is 20 summative points. So make sure you get that in. If you have any other late or missing assignments, make sure you get that in by Monday. By Monday. Did I forget anything? 9?
9. It means no in German.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, he's got my back. All right. So let's go over this warm up. Determine a relationship between the x and y values. When I ask determine a relationship, I really want you to write an equation, right? Write an equation. So what is the equation that I can come up with here? Baker.
X times 1 minus 2.
X times 1 minus 2.
Yeah.
So just like x minus 2.
No, 1x. What?
That's the same thing.
1 times x.
That's the same thing.
Oh, it wouldn't matter. I don't know what I was thinking. Well,
No. It's 1 times x.
But it worked.
That's true. That's true. If I did that, that would be the exact same thing. You're right. Or just x minus 2, right?
I just put in that word.
You just wanted to get more screen time. Like you
Yeah.
just wanted to hear your voice more on the video. Okay, so it's just x minus 2, right? Remember to always double check and make sure that it works for every point. Like, somebody might try to say to me, -1 times x, which works for the first coordinate, but does not work for the rest of them. So it's x minus 2. Y equals x minus 2. Remember to give me a full equation, y and x in that equation. The second one here, number 5. Identify the independent and dependent variables in each situation. A small size bottle of water costs $1.99 and a large size bottle of water costs $3.49. Okay, so what's my independent variable? Travis?
The size of the bottle.
Good, the size of the bottle. Independent variable is the size of the bottle. So the independent is the size of the bottle. What is the dependent variable? Rosalie? The cost. Good. Cost. Good. Number 7, identify the independent and dependent variables and then write a rule. Now, what does it mean when I say write a rule? Write an equation, right? Now, it says in function notation. Remember, we talked about function notation yesterday. That's that kind of fancy notation. You almost got to write it with your pinky up when you write your function notation because it's real fancy, real formal, right? That's that f of x notation. Okay, an air conditioning technician charges customers $75 per hour. Anyway, what's my independent variable?
The number of hours.
Good. The independent is the number of hours. So what's my dependent then?
That would be your total cost.
Okay, so now when I go to write my equation would be 75x. What do I have to put on the left side now? Perfect.
F of x.
F of x, good. F of x equals 75x. Remember, f of x is synonymous with y. right? Those are synonyms, right? F of x means y. It's just a fancy way to write y, correct? Now, could I have changed up my letters if I wanted to? Sure. Cost as a function of hours, CH is equal to 75H, right? That would have been fine. You know what's not okay? This is not okay, and I'll put it in red here. F of x is equal to 75H. Why is that not okay? Right, I can't mix up the variables like that, okay? Whatever you use on the left side, you've got to use on the right side as well. All right, and number 9. Now, on your homework, a lot of people were getting confused. I had some people come and ask me, why do I get 2 different numbers? What am I doing it? Guys, it's just 2 problems. It's just like 2 problems in one. So saying here, for f of x equal to 7x plus 2, when I want to find x is 0, I'm going to say f of 0. Plug in 0 on the left and the right side, and then evaluate. See, I'm not even using x is 1 yet. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. F of 0 is 2. Please make that full statement your answer. F of 0 is 2. Now, why do I like that as an answer? Because it shows both input and output, right? It shows x comma y. Basically, it's giving you the ordered pair right there. 0 comma 2. This would graph at 0 comma 2. And then I would say f of 1. Well, plug in 1 on the left side, plug in 1 on the right side. 7 times 1 plus 2. F of 1 is 9. That's how we would write that. That's how we speak that as well. F of 1 is 9. Questions on the warm-up? Anybody want to go over anything on the warm-up? Okay, let's take a look at the homework then. I'll go through question by question here. Determine the relationship between the x and y values. Okay, what's my relationship? Somebody tell me. I'll give you a minute to get out your homework. But what's my relationship there? Kenzie?
Y is equal to x times -2.
Good. I'll just say y is equal to negative 2x. Right. X times negative 2 is totally fine. So, negative 2x. Negative 2x. Good. What's my relationship for 14? See, it's not given to me in a table, but could I have rewritten it in a table if I really wanted to? Of course. But what is my relationship, Travis?
Y is equal to negative 1x.
Good. Negative 1x, or just negative x if we wanted to. Good. Yeah. Basically, to take 1 and make it negative 1, I just put a negative in front. To make 2, and to make it negative 2, I put a negative in front, and so on. All right, number 15 and 16. Gardeners buy fertilizer according to the size of the lawn. What's the independent variable? Elena? Size of the lawn. So what's my dependent variable? The amount of fertilizer. Good. Number 16. Do I have to do anything else other than that? No. Okay, good. Number 16. The cost of gift wrap an order is $3 plus $1 per item wrapped. So what is my independent variable? Tyler? The amount of items wrapped. Good. The amount of items wrapped. So if that's my independent, what's my dependent? Yeah, total cost. Yeah, total cost. Good. Number 17, to rent, same thing here, but now we're going to write the actual equation out. Number 17, to rent a DVD.
Why not just buy them? That's true.
A customer must pay $3.99 plus 99 cents for every day that it is late. Okay, so what's my independent variable? What's my independent variable? Mackenzie? Good, the number of days late. And what is my dependent variable then? Good, total cost. Okay, so I'll write the equation here. F of x, I'll be boring and write f of x is equal to 3.99 plus 0.99, 99 cents times x. Number 18, Stephen charges $25 for each lawn he mows. What's my independent variable? What's my independent variable?
The number of lawns.
Good, the number of lawns. What's my dependent variable then?
The amount of money.
Good, the amount of money. Good. And so my equation would then be f of x is equal to 25 times x. Number 19, a car can travel 28 miles per gallon of gas. What's my independent variable? Liam?
Amount of gallons used.
Good, the amount of gallons of gas. And so what's my dependent?
The speed of the car.
Okay, I wouldn't say the speed,
Or the distance.
the distance he travels. Good, the distance he travels. So f of x is equal to 28x. 28x. Okay. Let's continue on here. For f of 0, somebody tell me, what do we get for f of 0? What do we get for f of 0? If I plug in 0 into this equation? Well,
That would be -5.
-5. Good. F of 0 is -5. And what is f of 3 then? Baker? 4. Good. For number 21, I want to find f of 1, and then I want to find f of 2. Okay, so when I plug in 1 into this equation, what do I get? When I plug in 1, Berkeley?
7.
7. And what about plugging in 2? What about plugging in 2? Travis? 10. Let's use green. I never use it. I feel like I neglect the green marker. You know, I never use the green.
And purple.
And purple too. But I like to I don't like to use purple because that's a bigger like pen size. Yeah.
Oh, and also yellow.
Well, yellow, obviously. Yellow. I want to find f of 9, and then I want to find f of -3. Okay, so what's f of 9?
Rather ironically 9 as well.
Well, yeah, that's true. What about -3? What about -3? Berkeley?
1.
+1. Yeah, +1. Because 2/3 times -3 would be -2, plus 3 would be +1. All right, number 23. Mail and order company charges $5 per order plus $2 per item in the order, up to a maximum of 4 items. Write a function rule to describe the situation. So what's my equation? Baker?
F of x equals 5 plus 2x.
Good. I like the way he worded that too. F of x is equal to 5 plus 2x. Make sure you're writing the f of x. Guys, I will take off points if I tell you to write it in function notation, and if you don't put function notation. Like if you had said just 5 plus 2x, I'd have to take off points. If you said y equals 5 plus 2x, I would unfortunately have to take off points. All right, so now it's up to 4 items. So my domain, now my reasonable domain, would it make sense to do 0 items? No. Would it make sense to do 1? Sure. Would it make sense to do decimal values of items?
No.
No. So my reasonable domain is 1, 2, 3, 4. Could I possibly do 5?
No.
No, because it's a maximum of 4 items. So that's my reasonable domain. And then the range, well, I just have to plug those in. Obviously, I could make a table of values here, but if I plug in 1, I get 7, 2, I get 9, 3, I get 11, and 4, I get 13. Questions about that one? Number 24, Air Force One can travel 630 miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Let h be the number of hours traveled. The function rule d. See, I don't like this question. I don't like this question. I would take off points because of this statement right there. Is that truly a function rule? No. If they call it a function, you should use function notation. Okay, I digress. I didn't write the book. Gives the distance d in miles that Air Force One can travel. Identify the independent and dependent variables. See, and then it tells you to write it in function notation. So I guess it wants you to do that. So identify the independent and dependent variables. What is the What is the independent variable? What is the independent variable for this equation that we got? Somebody I haven't talked to yet today. Descartes talked to you a lot. Remember? Tyler talked to you. Liam, I've talked to you. Alexis, what's my independent variable for this equation? I've got d is equal to 630h. What is my independent? It's not distance because it's, what is h in this case? The amount of hours. So the independent variable is the amount of hours. And then my dependent would be what? If I increase the amount of hours and I'm flying 630 miles per hour, what does that cause to happen? distance. Good. Independent is hours, dependent is distance. And then write it in function notation. We would say, we could say f of h because we're using h, 630h. Okay, reasonable values for the domain and range. Okay, what's my reasonable domain? Well, could I, see now this is kind of an interesting question because, I mean, could I fly for 0 hours? Not really, right? Could I fly for like a minute? I mean, I guess I could, right?
But it would.
Could I fly for like a second?
No.
Yeah, I guess I could, but I'd like to jump off, right? I don't know if I like this question because now also, could I fly for decimal values of hours? Yeah. So in this case, I could have decimals. Could I fly for negative amounts of time?
No.
No. So I would say the reasonable domain is all numbers greater than 0. Okay. All numbers greater than 0. Okay, so my reasonable range would therefore then be what? Well, if I plug in 0, I get 0. If I plug in 1, I get 630. If I plug in 2, that's only going to get bigger. I would say y is greater than 0 as well. Yeah, but I could have decimals though. So that's the thing. You know? How far can Air Force One travel in 12 hours? Well, we just got to plug in 12. 630 times 12 gets me 7,560 miles. You guys know how far that is? That's like that's like New York to LA and back. Maybe even more than that. Whatever. Here, let's do this. Hey Siri, what's the distance from New York to LA?
Los Angeles is about 2,794 miles from New York by car.
So that's like New York to LA to New York to LA. That's crazy. But I guess 12 hours. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, complete the table for g of z. Okay, so all it's asking me to do is just plug in these values. If I plug in 1, I get -3. I plug in 2, I get -1. I plug in 3, I get 1. I plug in 4, I get 3. Same thing here. X squared plus x, so I get 0. Remember that you're plugging in both places. So like if I plug in 1, it's 1 squared plus 1, or 2. If I plug in 2, that's 2 squared plus 2, which that's 4 plus 2 is 6. If I plug in 3, that's 3 squared plus 3. So 9 plus 3 is 12. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching along at home. Turn in your homework. Don't forget to do this homework assignment. See ya.